Drama alert! Drama alert!
And we have some juicy stuff today between two YouTubers, DarkViperAU and Moist Critical. Who's DarkViperAU? Why does that sound so familiar? He's a GTA speedrunner. He sounds so weirdly familiar. Did he do Pokemon unboxing? Oh, that's where I know him from. He's the guy who calculated Ludwig's total money earned on his subathon, and then he deleted the video because it was wildly inaccurate. I forget exactly what happened. He just like forgot about taxes. I totally forgot about it because by the time I found it, people had already made fun of him and he deleted the video. So I never really watched the video. I only knew that he had made a video, but I didn't really watch it. And my only experience with Dark Viper is that he made a video about how much money I made on the subathon. It was wildly inaccurate and he deleted it before I think I even saw it. And that's pretty much it.
I seriously can't believe Ludwig is still pulling this shit. It's been over a year. You might not know this guy, but this is Ludwig. He decided to give his opinion on the dispute that I had with Charlie about React content. I am, however, going to detour from that to explain what he said here, which is similar bullshit to what he would say a year ago. I let it slide back then, in part because I was a fan of his, but also he was the golden child of streaming at the time, which made calling him out directly for his dishonesty and intimidating prospects. Of course, all of that has now changed with the passing of a year, and Ludwig now bringing up old history has given me the perfect opportunity to bring clarity to an awkward event that happened during Ludwig's subathon. So our story begins March 14, 2021, when Ludwig begun his subathon stream, a near continuous stream of his life with a running clock dictating how much longer the stream would run, with every paid subscription to his Twitch channel adding to the timer. But it was 10 days later, on March 24th, 2021, where our drama truly began. On this day, Ludwig boldly claimed that despite having brought in revenue of $500,000 in 10 days, he personally would only receive $3,000.
I got $3,000.
Are you sure about that?
My first thought upon watching this in my kitchen was that surely everyone would know that this is dumb and obviously wrong, right? Sure, Ludwig did misrepresent how taxes work and how much content creators make in general, misinformation which could negatively impact his viewers, but how many people could a live stream possibly reach anyway? Later at my PC, I saw that it was at the top of the livestream fails subreddit with 5,000 upvotes, spreading this misinformation further, and no one seemed to be pointing out that it was inaccurate. I was in bed that night, browsing TikTok, and wouldn't you know it, did you know that Ludwig is only taking home $3,000 of his $500,000 of revenue? I wake up the next day, and article after article after article after article repeating the same misinformation without correction. Surprisingly though, not a peep from Ludwig, who seemingly did not care that he had spread misinformation to seemingly half the world at this point. With every step of the way, I kept saying to myself, this is not my problem. Surely someone has explained to Ludwig his mistake, and he will come out and say, my bad guys, I was unaware, I didn't know how taxes worked. Whoops. What I didn't expect Ludwig to do was 2 days after he made these false claims to make them again, but now on his YouTube channel. Given that he had distributed this misinformation not once but twice, clearly either he was unaware of his mistake or was fine with how his finances were being misrepresented. This left me with a bit of a dilemma. I was in bed, very tired, as I was in the process of moving my sleeping pattern when I saw Ludwig upload this video. Barely alive, I'm reading the new comments as they come in. Oh, poor Ludwig getting fucked by taxes. I can't believe how little money Ludwig makes, and so on and so forth. So being a fan of Ludwig's, of course I was conflicted, because I didn't want to cause a fuss, but at the same time, I hate misinformation and I do like helping people. So I initially left a comment explaining what Ludwig had gotten wrong, but I realized no one would likely see it. I figured as I couldn't sleep, I may as well get out of bed, make a short video, and do some calculations. It was a true Thanos moment. If no one else was going to correct this, fine.
I'll do it myself.
So I made an exceptionally dry, tired, 3-minute video explaining taxation. I point out that Ludwig had mistakenly taxed his gross revenue while he should have deducted his expenses prior to that point. I also explained that federal and state taxes need to be calculated separately, in part because you can't just combine two separate percentage calculations together, but also because state taxes are a deduction for federal taxes. And in response to the comments, I explained how progressive taxes work. If a person makes $500K, they don't pay the top tax bracket on all of it. Instead, they pay different rates for each portion in its corresponding bracket, which is something that I've already explained multiple times in my Ramble series. Progressive taxation. You can't wait to be taxed an extra $5,670 to get a $1,400 paycheck? Is that a serious comment? Do you not know how taxes work? We discuss this sometimes. It is crazy that people get jobs but have no idea how taxes work. I do go on for quite a while because we all didn't know this information at some point and it's helpful information to have. So it took me a few tries, but I managed to get it done. After rendering it, making a thumbnail, and releasing it, I got back into bed. I further updated the comment I left initially with the new calculations that had the corrections considered. Understand, this video had no discussion of what motivated Ludwig in his misinformation, or what would motivate him to want to detail his taxes and expenses in the first place. To this day, I've never heard of another person getting $500,000 and then explaining about their taxes or how much they choose to give their friends and charity. Funnily enough, a similar thing actually happened to me when the Twitch income leaks happened in 2021, and people found out that I made $500,000 over 26 months. One of the first things my manager suggested I do when this happened was downplay it by talking about my taxes and expenses. I of course didn't do that, because when you're earning a lot of money, attempting to downplay your wealth is a pretty scummy thing to do. What I'm trying to say is, it was well within my power to present Ludwig as a devious trickster, but I didn't think he was. I only focused on correcting the misinformation that could lead people to make poor decisions with their lives, as I have done numerous times before. So in an ideal world, this is where the story would end. But alas, it continues, as Ludwig replied to my comment, "Lol, I wish I got $5 per sub." So what happened? While my math was correct, as was my information about taxes, I had forgotten that Ludwig was not using his Twitch analytics. After all, I was tired and I had seen the footage 2 days prior. For whatever reason, Ludwig was using statistics generated by his viewers that gave wildly inaccurate figures and outright ignored the money Ludwig was making from ad revenue. I was tired, so I did the calculations based on the first number that was on Ludwig's screen, forgetting about its dubious source. I mean, it was labeled 10 days of streaming. How could I have been so crazy to have confused that with the revenue that he generated over 10 days of streaming? Any sane person would have remembered that this figure was actually any revenue visible on screen to a handful of viewers that had no idea how Twitch fees or revenue share worked who went through Ludwig's VODs. Any Twitch streamer who isn't Ludwig, if they wanted to share the revenue they made streaming, would just go to the Twitch backend and give exact figures. Ludwig's preference for a website that he knew to be inaccurate, given that he could see it conflicted with his Twitch analytics, which would have told him it was downplaying his revenue, is not something I can explain to you. But it is something I should have taken into account, and that was my error, that Ludwig has termed wildly inaccurate. Now let me ask you, how long do you think this error existed for? A day, a week, a month? I mean, Ludwig is sitting in his glass house made of his gross misrepresentations, throwing stones at me even after all this time. So surely you'd imagine my video must have reached a staggering amount of people over a very long period, right? No, the video existed for 20 minutes and reached maybe 2,000 people at best. I saw Ludwig's comment the second he made it, so I privated my video because unlike Ludwig, I care about being accurate. I got out of bed again, even more tired now, and spent the next half an hour stumbling over my words to make a new video. I used his inaccurate figures and came to a result of $66,000, which was 22 times higher than what Ludwig claimed. And his take home is $66,000. You know, certainly a huge reduction, but not $3,000. And I think it was fun to calculate. I hope people enjoy this video. And so the reasoning why this is the case is down here if you want to read that as well. Yeah, hope you're doing good. I will hopefully go to bed now. This obviously is still undershot what he was actually taking home by a factor of 2, but hey, I used the numbers he wanted, so I figured he'd be happy. I then updated my comment with this new information, which you can still see on the video to this day. It was only at this point, after 2 days, that Ludwig finally commented on the issue, perhaps feeling bullied into it by me given the timing, where he said, "Whoops guys, I did some bad math. I probably made between 40 and 70k. Now it should be obvious that Ludwig didn't do bad math. He didn't just not carry a 1 somewhere. He just straight up didn't know how taxes worked, and seemingly even how percentages worked. This he fully admitted 10 days later when he finally made an update in a video where he acknowledged that what he said over a week ago was complete horseshit.
Last time, a few people took the clip of me doing the calculations, which I am no accountant and I don't know calculations well, and then ending with 3K, and then had the takeaway that I'm walking away with 3K. Which isn't correct. So yeah, the takeaway was not 3K. There is a lot in write-offs, and I think I have a better understanding of how to do it. I don't know the actual number. It's not a meme. I'm not pretending to be dumb. I genuinely didn't pay my taxes in 2018 because I was stressed out because I didn't know how to find my adjusted gross income, and I was so stressed that I just ignored it until I hired Slime, and then Slime did it for me.
After I made my video, Ludwig on his live stream in front of tens of thousands of people made endless false claims about me personally and my work.
There was a guy who I'm not going to harp on anymore and bring up his name, who posted a comment on the last video saying what the full sum was.
I didn't understand at the time why so much of what he said was entirely fucking inaccurate, but now learning that he didn't even bother to watch the video, it makes a little bit more sense. But like, if he didn't even watch the video, why did he talk about it so much? And why is he bringing it up now? I had people send me clips, long gone now, where he and his friend Slime would say entirely made up garbage and laugh at me. I went through some serious cognitive dissonance at the time, as I tried to rationalize how this guy that I liked was being a complete arsehole just because I tried to help people. One of my mods put it this way at the time. So Ludwig talked to Matt in YouTube comments. Matt corrected for Twitch sub ratio, but Ludwig still goes ahead on stream to talk about how Twitch sub ratio was not included.
On the last video saying what the full sum was, but assumed that I took away $5 from Twitch.
Ludwig proceeded to whine as if this slightly incorrect original video that existed for 20 minutes had been hand-delivered to every single person on the fucking planet. The hypocrisy of it all, after this guy on multiple occasions entirely misled millions of people about his finances with seemingly little care. I'm not sure when I took down the video, but it was up for many months. More than enough time for him to watch it, but he was seemingly more keen to misrepresent me and it as a means of deflecting from his own mistakes. While it was probably up for longer, Wayback Machine shows it was there for at least 2 months. So that was where the story ended. Ludwig said a bunch of bullshit on his stream to tens of thousands of people, and I had to deal with it for a couple of weeks as people kept repeating it to me.
Is that DarkViperAU? The guy who doesn't understand taxes?
But now we're back in present day, where Ludwig has annoyingly brought up this bullshit again. So I DM'd him about it, and I can't tell if he's trying to gaslight me or he's just rewritten the past in his head to justify the shit he said then and the shit he's saying now. Anyway, I think the 3K narrative was a meme, not my intent to say this is how much I'm making. I tried doing the math myself, and in future iterations followed someone else's. This is clearly false.
It's not a meme. I'm not pretending to be dumb.
I tried very hard to be transparent about the financials and also pay people appropriately. So it was a meme, a sincere attempt at transparency, a math error, and a result of him not understanding taxes. I mean, why not just throw every excuse out there and see what sticks? The 3K was corrected by me before you corrected it, you just re-corrected it, but wrong originally. This, of course, was not the case. Ludwig not only let this sit for over 2 days, but he only left a comment after I had updated mine. I have proof of this because my video captures what Ludwig's video looked like at the time, and you can see his pinned comment making the correction is not there, yet my comment is updated with the correct figures. So little care did he have to correct it formally, he didn't even state in a video that it was incorrect for 10 days. Ludwig could have just removed that entire section with the YouTube editor like that, but he didn't, because he didn't care. It was largely just a video explaining how taxes work. Ludwig, dozens of articles were written about it. I think that's the content, but that message was Ludwig lied about his 3K, and here's why. He didn't even watch the video. That was not it at all. I said you made an error, as we all do. As I said, I didn't attribute malice to your actions. Right, I'm the one who had chatters say that, so it was a real experience from my point of view, regardless of whether or not you applied malice. This man was an asshole to me, now running an entire year because his chat told him bullshit that he just ran with rather than watching a 3-minute video to find out if it was true. This is so stupid that it's actually hard to believe. Like I said, I haven't watched your video. I was on stream every moment of my life for a month and wanted to be transparent about payment. I fucked up a calculation and corrected it immediately, but unfortunately due to the nature of live, it was clipped and spread. This guy ran YouTube videos on his stream for 10 to 15 days of the entire time that he was live during that subathon. He clearly could have watched my video if he wanted to. He had more than enough time to tweet during these days, but not tweet about this issue specifically or ask for help on his taxes. But that was the problem. Ludwig was surprisingly unaware of how little he knew, thus he didn't know he should ask for help. It should go without saying, obviously he didn't correct it immediately or he wouldn't fucking be here. Again, not really cut up, just roasted it for its inaccuracy because you were not under the same constriction of doing it live. Ludwig has deluded himself to the extent that he believes somehow not having OBS active would have taught him how taxes worked. Did someone put a gun to his head and force him to cut up his revenue on stream? Did his Twitch viewers kidnap his family and demand a breakdown of his taxes and expenses? Who was asking for this? It is why other people speculated on why Ludwig kept doing this breakdown throughout the subathon, because many of the possible motivations did not paint him in a very good light. I hope you agree that it's pretty funny for Ludwig to accuse me of being wildly inaccurate and not understanding taxes when he seems to have projected his own faults onto me and wiped the event from his mind. We will pick up with Ludwig's response to the dispute I had with Moist Critical over React content in the next video. I'm sorry for this slight detour, but that event a year ago was amazingly annoying then, and his encapsulation of it now was even more so. If you can't wait, be sure to watch the second video in this series, linked down below, where I look at React content from every angle and reference some data to show its impact. Spoilers, everyone loses except the reactors.